Hey guys, welcome to the Tokyo Motor Show 2025. I'm here with Frank van Meel, the BMW M CEO, and we're right here, right next to the BMW M2 CS. Without any further ado, I'm going to jump right into this topic first. We're going to talk about some other things. So, we've talked about the car quite a bit. Now, tell me, what was the reaction from customers when it comes to this car?
Well, actually, we unveiled it the first time. We together did it, actually, and at the Villa d'Este, and the reactions were just great. So the run for this car, the demand is very high. Actually, here in Asia, this is the premiere for the Asian region, and especially here in Tokyo. There's a big community, fan community, especially for these kind of cars. And actually, we introduced it here on the motor show, but in Japan it's already sold out. So the whole volume for Japan is already sold out. And it also shows how strong Japan is also with M. Because the last time I was here at the motor show was with the M4 GTS in 2016. So quite a long time ago. And since then we've tripled the volume of M. So the M fan community in Japan has increased significantly. And they are especially keen on the smaller M versions because Tokyo is a very dense city with a lot of people, small streets, small garages. So they actually love M2 and especially the M2 CS.
Gotcha. So I'm not going to dwell too much into the specs of that. We've talked about that quite a bit, but I guess a couple of things that came up over time, when it comes to this car. One was the fact that now you're using a rear-wheel drive compared to the other CS models. Should anyone be concerned with grip? I know you've done the Nürburgring record, which is fantastic, but I haven't had a chance to drive the car. I was supposed to drive it today, but somebody else will do. So what's your opinion since you drove the car?
Well, of course, it's got 530 horsepower at the rear wheels, so it's a lot of power. But of course, it's got an active rear differential, so that already helps in getting more grips. And also, if the tires are warmed up properly, it's really cool to drive, especially with the Cup 2 or Cup 2R semi-slicks, because then the car actually is glued to the road. So for the track use, it's perfect. Also with the rear-wheel drive. You probably don't want to put the Cup 2 tires on the car where you mainly drive on rainy roads. But as a track tool, it's perfect with that, and it's just glued to the road. I just drove it in southern France on a racetrack a couple of weeks ago. There is no way, because people say it's nice to drift. Actually, when the tires are warmed up, they are glued to the road. So you don't need the M dynamic mode or DSC off because it's impossible, almost impossible to get the car sliding, and if you get it sliding, you're way too fast.
So let me ask you this then. I mean, that's a very good point, but if you were, because once again, till I drive it, I'm not going to be able to answer this question, so maybe you can. How would you compare it to the M4 CS driving experience?
Well, the M4 CS, of course, has the MX drive, and we did that on purpose. And there it was more about traction, getting more out of the car, because we already had the M4 CSL, which is a rear-wheel drive with a lot of power. And in contrast to that, we already had an M4 competition. So we didn't want the CS to be slower on the track than the competition. And the competition has MX drive, so the CS, we added the MX drive to get more lap time performance than the competition, which is actually a great car. With the M2, we added more horsepower, significantly more, because of course these are the European horsepowers, but
523 in the US, or PS versus HP.
So now it's 523 BHP, but in Europe it's 530 horsepower, whereas the regular M2's got 480. So we added 50 horsepower. And we with that we also stick to the rear-wheel drive.
Which market do you feel like you will have the highest demand? It would be like US. You think will be still the main market for cars like this overall?
Well, the US is our single biggest market, so also the demand for the special vehicles is quite high. But I also must say Europe is really strong. The UK, Germany, France, Italy, almost every country told us, give me more, but of course the production run is limited, so we have a limited number of cars. But the US has the biggest chunk out
The
of
bulk.
yeah.
And it's interesting you say about this car, because honestly, one of the things that I've always talked about is the fact that there is nothing in the market in this segment. You're looking at the market like across, and this car is really like a unicorn in many, many ways, right? You look at competitors, they're either priced too high, different type of car. This is really like stands in the market by itself, which I think is great. And I have a feeling that people will be asking for more units than you've planned for. But with that being said, let's talk a little bit about Japan, right? How important is the market for M, and maybe what's the biggest selling car here when it comes to M?
Well, actually, the biggest selling car in Japan right now is the M2.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah.
It's because of the car culture, maybe. I mean, we can walk around a bit of a car
well,
too.
It's also in regards to the size, because they
Yeah.
have a lot of rules,
Yeah.
especially in the parking garages. There
Yeah.
are some sizes you should not exceed,
Sure.
otherwise you cannot enter these
Yeah.
parking garages. So they have to more or less in Tokyo downtown, which actually accounts for 40% of all people and car volume, even more. They need more the compact cars. So if you look at our segment and the cars that we sell the best in Japan, it's the M2, it's the M3, it's the X1 M35i, and it's the M135i. So these cars are very popular here.
Gotcha. If we're talking about the entire portfolio of BMW M, what's the one car that you feel like it surprised you when it comes to how well it's doing overall? You've been at M for a long time, you've seen a lot of different products.
You talk about the projection and what you thought you would sell and what actually happened. I think the Tourings are the one that surprised me most, because the demand for the Tourings it exceeded our expectations by
and
far.
Both the M3 and the M5.
Both
probably.
the M3 and the M5, and also the M5 in the US, because we now see that it's a 50-50 split, even in the United States, between the sedan and the Touring.
Yeah.
Our estimations were that since the US only had the sedan the whole life, that the Touring, especially since the Touring is not as popular in the wagon is
In
not
the
as
US,
popular in the US, we'd rather guess that it would be 30 to 70%, so more, or 1/3 Touring and 2/3 sedan, but actually now it's 50-50, and even the demand in total for the M5 has exceeded the expectations. So I'd say the Tourings, especially the M5 Touring, but also the M3 Touring in Europe exceeded the projections the most. So they surprised me the most of all cars.
Like looking back, do you think now, with everybody comments about how the M3 Touring is a fantastic car? I actually had a chance to drive it yesterday. I picked that car of the entire lineup. It's tough to pick a favorite child, but I went straight to the garage to the M3 Touring, and I loved it. Honestly, I love the car, how it drives, the design. I love it too. Looking back, do you feel like the U.S. market would have embraced an M3 Touring?
Yes, I think so. It might have happened. At that time, we were not brave enough to do it altogether. Okay. So because we had second thoughts, and the M5 Touring was, let's say, the safe bet, because it's also in regards to size. And it's got a V8, and it's it's a big car. That was the safe bet. So we didn't want to do anything wrong, because if the M3 Touring would not have worked, which we don't know today, but if it would have not worked, there would not have been an M5 Touring as well.
That's true.
So there's only one chance for a first impression. There's no second chance for a first impression, so we took the safe bet.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So before we move on to maybe talk about the future a little bit, about, you've talked about the electrification and all of that, there's one question that I have to ask. Like, a lot of people are asking, it's about the competition designation. You've used that for so many years, and now you don't see it anymore. Is it completely dead, or it just doesn't make sense maybe in the current portfolio? Or like, how do you differentiate these cars? Like, does it even make sense to have one today?
Well, actually, we saw that also with our competitors, that they had a two-step approach. Okay. And we thought, okay, there seems to be a demand for an even higher version, which we then called the competition. But what happened over the years is that more than 80% of all of our customers petitioned right away. So we said, okay, we make a high-performance car and a competition version. Everyone says, okay, when you have a competition version, I'm in. And so we decided, okay, then we're going for competition only, because almost every customer tells us, if you've got a better one, we take that one.
So bottom line is, if the M2 doesn't have to have the name competition in it, it's competition based on the performance and the power levels basically right now.
Yeah, so you might say every M now is a competition.
Okay, that's good to know. Right, so let's talk about the future a little bit. So, right, so electrification, you've shown some things. We've seen the cars like on the road. Clearly, you have an electric, whatever name it's going to be, car coming. Why would a customer be excited about something like that? Because there is a lot of people asking, well, you know, I love my ICE cars. Why would I be getting an electric M car versus an ICE one? Like, what would be the selling point if you were to convince someone?
Well, actually, the car has to convince the customer, and that is our main target. And there's a reason there is no M high performance car yet, because in the past we didn't see that working. Because what you need to make a perfect M high performance car pure electric is the right architecture for the overall car, which needs to be an all electric platform. In the second place, you of course need to have the right architecture. So in regards to the components, you need to have batteries that actually have enough power density but also performance, and you need to have electric motors that can work with that, and you need to have the right electronic architecture and software to control, let's say, 4 electric motors, which we are talking about. If you talk about M high performance, 4 individual electric motors to get the perfect dynamics. And once you can do that, and you level the whole driving dynamics one notch up, then I think the customer will be tempted to go that way. The second question, and we ask those questions ourselves as well, is it emotional enough? Because if you are on a racetrack driving in one gear from 0 to 300 with some kind of noise or no noise, and if you have to look down at your speedometer all the time to see how quick you are on the racetrack, you get the moment you look down on your speedometer, you get overtaken on the left and the right side. And since we come from racing, we don't want that. So the feeling you have in a race car is you know in which gear you're in, you hear the sound from the corner of your eyes, you see the shifting lights, and that is how you as a driver are integrated in the car and the vehicle dynamics. And that's something you also need if you talk about electric. So those two things, to get superb vehicle dynamics and to integrate the driver in the car so that you feel the passion, the emotion, the car. You have a feeling of the car all the time. That's something you need, and we are sure we can achieve that, so that's why we are working on that. And on the other hand, we do know that a lot of customers say, but I like a 6-cylinder inline engine. So that's why we also said we are going to keep the 6-cylinder inline engine also in the future in the M3. So you as a customer will have the decision to make, am I sticking to the best combustion engine driven car in the segment, the 6-cylinder, the iconic 6-cylinder inline, or do I want to buy the only competitor that outperforms the M3, which is the electric M3?
Gotcha.
Best for us will be, you say, you know, endowed by both.
Exactly. But in 2025, 2026, how would you define emotions, right? Because I feel like the customer base has changed quite a bit, and we all have different definitions of emotion. Like for some people, like you said, it's the sound, it's maybe the 6-speed manual. For others, it's really straight line performance and insane cornering with 4 motors, all of that. Do you feel like your customer base has changed and there is a segmentation that now, okay, now we can have both, but in a different drivetrain?
Well, actually, if you look at our fan base and customer base, people are excited about cars and passionate about cars. That's why we're having this discussion because you're also passionate about cars.
Both cars, actually.
Because
I like both stuff.
You say, you know, what is it tempting enough? Is it a car you like to drive? Is it the car you love? A car you would like maybe to show off with? Is that emotional or not? And that is our main thing that is driving us when we make cars. We want to make them emotional, not only in regards to vehicle dynamics, but also for you as the one driving the car, that you actually, every meter you drive, you enjoy driving the car. So that is the main thing.
So the other thing that I was going to ask, and I've seen that comment a little bit, is about the heart of joy, right? So in the past, the AG side of business would give you a base car, you would put your M spin on it quite a bit. How can you differentiate now an M electric car from a base car like a 3 Series electric, like what kind of improvements you're doing on the M side? Without giving me specifics, I understand you're not ready for that, but like how does it work in this world where it's all about softer a lot, you know, and changing a little bit of the electric motors versus like in the past was like beefing up the car to be more?
Well,
I'm sure it's not easy answer because you can't give away everything.
No, but I think we had a different question actually, because if you want to do an M car, the base car or the AG car has to be a strong product.
Very good, yeah.
Because if it's not a strong product, you cannot build an M3, you cannot rebuild a whole car. You can add things, you can strengthen the car, torsional stiffness, you can put more power in, you can put different controls in, but actually if the whole architecture of the car is too weak, your M will not be strong enough. So what we did over the past 3 or 4 years was together with BMW Group to bring in all the basic needs we have for an M into the Neue Klasse, like the car body itself, the ways you can add even more torsional stiffness, but also in the base AG car, how can you already have enough torsional stiffness in the base car because you cannot change it completely? How can you also work with 4 electric motors? So you need an electronic architecture that is able to work, and also software that is able to work with 1, 2, 3 or 4 electric motors. So the overall architecture and the possibilities from the Neue Klasse are already prepared for M. Because otherwise we could not push it one level higher if the base level would not be okay and if it would not offer the possibilities to build upon it. So that is maybe not completely the answer to your question, but you have to look backwards to, let's say, give a prognosis what's possible with M if you build upon that. And if you drive the Neue Klasse, you already have this feeling of precision and agility where you say, that's cool. And if you then quadruple that, you have maybe a feeling what M might do with that.
But it's also an interesting point that that you're making, because being embedded so early into the development process with the AG car, with the base car, the donor car, it also gives you a higher ceiling on what you can do with an electric car. Because like in the past, the ceiling was always kind of the engine in the end, but with this one, if you're so early, I'm assuming you can have different power levels without having to change too much because you started so early with the stiffness and all of that. I'm just guessing. I'm not an engineer when it comes to cars, but it's quite interesting that that approach has changed when it comes to the industry and everything else that you do. So I'm quite excited to actually drive that car, hopefully very, very soon. But thank you for your time. We can tease that in the next video at some point we're going to talk about another M2 with a cool track package. Maybe we can't talk too much about that now, but you know, if you guys want to watch that, we'll have Frank talk about that quite a bit because that's another interesting product. So
yes, and let's say as a in addition to your BMW blog interviews here, we also have our M Electrified episodes where we continuously
you're going to show the
the progress that we make with the electric high performance M vehicles and what we're currently working on. So stay tuned to that as well. The next episode will come out in January probably. So there you will see more.
So you will see the next progression from what we've seen a few months ago, basically.
And what I can't tell you right now.
I know. But there is always time. Well, thank you for your time as always. I really appreciate it. Guys, stay tuned. We'll have a lot more things coming up in the near future.
Thank you.